I want to see how this stacks up against its German competitors. This is a 2016 Vauxhall Astra with a 1.4 litre naturally aspirated engine. And I've never driven one. So we've got 100 horsepower, 130 newton meters. So not a lot. It's naturally aspirated, so there's not a lot of low down grunt. But it should be fine for daily driving. And today we're going to see whether it can be quieter than Golf at like 72.5, 72.7 decibels, whether it can match the MPG. I've reset the trip computer in this thing, so it should do around 51 MPG. Not quite as much as VW claim with their Golf, but I noticed the 1 litre and 1.5 litre engines never quite do the figures that they claim they're going to do. So if this does 51, that's actually pretty much as good, if not better, than a Golf or an Audi A3 can do. And of course, we're going to do a 0 to 60, a 30 to 70, and of course, have some fun on a B road. Because my name is Tom, and you are watching Paragon Cars. Let's get into it. Going to see what this is like to drive around town at first. Everything's just very easy, clutch is easy. One thing I'm liking already is just the shape of this shifter actually. Feels really quite nice, very natural to use, very smooth gear change. Throttle pedal, brake pedal, easy to modulate. Very little to complain about. One thing I really like for some reason as well is just this little design element here on the dash. It makes you feel like almost more closed in because everything kind of wraps around you. In terms of parking this thing, we don't have parking sensors, unfortunately. So, yeah, you're left to your own devices. And the other thing I'm noticing pretty much straight away is that the mirrors are just a little bit smaller than they are on a Golf or an Audi. They're just not quite as easy to see around. So I'm kind of moving my head a bit more. But the actual judgment of size of this thing is very easy. It is very Golf-like in its size, fundamentally. And yeah, getting into a space in one go is pretty easy. Door sounds nice and solid. That's a bit creaky though. Coming out of junctions then, just give it half throttle. Clutch is very easy to modulate in this. Easier than a Golf, I'd say. Bite point is, like, not super pronounced, but it's just very smooth. Yeah, very, very smooth. Brake pedal, lovely. It's all very easy so far. So a pretty cracking car around town then. But how's this thing going to perform? Will a naturally aspirated 100 horsepower engine be enough to really push this thing down the road? Well, let's start with a 30 to 70 sprint and find out. We are actively looking for stock. We require sports and prestige vehicles up to 7 years and 70k miles, with a high spec and a full service history. We're able to clear your finance and collect from your doorstep, so it is hassle-free. So if you're looking to sell your car or just want to know what it's worth in today's market, please get in touch. Drop us a message or give us a call to discuss further. 30 to 70, we actually did a fairly decent time, all things considered. Remember, this is naturally aspirated and it's only got 100 horsepower and it's actually quite a big car. So we did 11.51 seconds, which I think all things considered is pretty decent, about the same as a BMW 116D. So looking at the wear and tear on this thing, the main thing in the Vauxhall Astra is going to be the steering wheel. As you can see, it's just very, very cheap. And unfortunately it wears away quite quickly. This car's 9 years old, but that's no excuse for the steering wheel to be wearing like this. But having said that, the rest of the car is literally perfect. Obviously the seats aren't leather, so there's literally nothing really to talk about. Things like the armrests, they still go backwards and forwards very nicely. Everything works, everything feels nice and solid. Even the doors, I think, sound nicer than my 1 Series. But is the glove box still damped? Oh, look at that. Very posh. So for a 9-year-old car, apart from the steering wheel, could you ask for much better than that? See, I don't think so. Now then, in terms of reliability, these 1.4 litres, the naturally aspirated one in this, and the turbo one, aren't really known for being like the most reliable engines ever, but they're also not known for being the most unreliable engines ever. The one that's in this, obviously the naturally aspirated one, is going to be inherently a little bit more reliable because there's just less things to go wrong, but you can get a couple of odd oil leaks. It's just the norm with these engines. In terms of acceleration coming onto the motorway, third gear, just put your foot down. Have to really rev this thing out to get the performance out of it. But yeah, you can get up to 70 fairly easily. Get it into fifth gear, only 5 speeds on this manual gearbox, so you sit at about 3,000 revs. But the one kind of good thing about that, I suppose, is that if you go down to like 60 and then just plant your foot, it picks up absolutely fine for a naturally aspirated engine. And then once you are on the motorway, you've got your cruise control here, get it on 70 odd mile an hour, and it's a perfectly pleasant place to be, really. There's very little to complain about. The steering stays nice and straight. You've got an armrest that can go backwards and forwards. Got a place to rest my elbow, nice and soft and squidgy. The only thing I'm hearing right now is just that buzz of the engine. If it had a 6-speed, it would be a little bit nicer, I think. Now then, in terms of the sound system, the quality is lacking, to be honest. It's really not very good. Anything above half volume, it just turns into complete mush. But having said that, the actual volume is quite good. You don't really want to go past half volume, because if you turn it all the way up to 63, I don't know why it's not out of 100, but you turn it up to 63 and it goes to 118.6 decibels, which is plenty loud enough. Anyway, let's see what MPG this thing will really do, and of course see how noisy it is inside without the sound system on. Clear run today then, and we've done 41 mpg, which, to be honest, isn't that good compared to its competitors. Something like a Golf or an A3 will definitely do more, and a 1 Series as well with a 1.5 litre engine. But having said that, it's not terrible. I mean, the thing is, this has only got 5 speeds. If it did have a 6-speed gearbox, I reckon it would very much easily do over 50 mpg. It's just sitting at 2 higher revs at 70 miles an hour. And then in terms of the noise level, we did 73.1 decibels. So again, slightly louder than a Golf, which does 72.5 decibels. But it's hardly noticeable. It's one of those things, it is just difficult to tell. It's definitely louder than an A3, I can tell you that, but compared to a Golf, it's negligible at the end of the day. One thing I do love though is just the gear shift itself. It feels really nice, really smooth, and we're going to be exploring that now because we're going to do some sporty road driving. So let's actually turn the stability control off, which we can do in this thing. Well, traction control, not stability control, and have some fun. So coming around here, if I just plant my foot, no real drama. Holds onto the road well, actually. Shift gears fairly quickly, doesn't really complain, and you can rev this engine out. It does love to rev. That's surprising. Usually smaller engines, they kind of feel like they're running out of breath at about 5,500 revs, but yeah, this engine does like to rev. I suppose that's quite good considering it's naturally aspirated. Any heel toe? Sort of. Not very easily. Steering it's light, but it's actually not that bad, you know. I can kind of feel what's going on, really. Do you know what? I think it's better than a Mark 7 Golf steering. It's definitely got... It's slower, but I can tell more of what's going on. The weighting is slightly nicer, and the balance of the chassis is definitely better. Weight distribution is much better in this than a Golf. Surprising, this. The Golf is just very safe. It doesn't let you really have that much fun. But they kind of trick people into making it think it's sportier because it has a faster steering rack, whereas this actually has a better inherent balance. Now, the one thing I will say, though, is that the brakes in the Golf definitely feel nicer. These have that kind of typical spongy feel to them that I'm not super keen on. Now then, 0 to 60 time. It's not the quickest car in the world, is it? I mean, it doesn't have a turbo, so it's not going to be. But 0 to 60, Vauxhall claim this will do 12.3 seconds. I reckon I'm going to do about 13.5, using my sort of car reviewer brain and experience. Obviously I've got to be fairly nice on the clutch, I can't just dump the clutch. But I will try my best to get the best possible time out of this thing, so let's see what it does. Zero to 60 then, we actually smashed the claimed time of 12.3 seconds and did 12.15 seconds. Now, still fundamentally quite slow, but we were going slightly uphill. So, on a completely flat surface, we would have done about 11.8 seconds, which is quite a bit quicker than Vauxhall claim. Well, I'm very happy with that, but how happy am I going to be with this thing down a little B road? Can it be as fun as a 1 Series? Well, I don't think it's going to be as fun as my 1 Series rear-wheel drive one, but compared to the new one, it's very easy to place, I'll tell you that. You just kind of stay in 3rd gear, really. Need to use all that power, coming over the bigger bumps. It's very settled, you know, surprisingly good. Coming down here, bit on the brakes, 3rd gear. Very undramatic, but it feels quite nice, very predictable. Now, traction control off again, let's see what it's like, and can it hit 60 before the corner? Ooh, might struggle. No, we got to 50 though. And that's what you want out of something like this. You don't want something that's necessarily raucous. You just want something that's pleasant, easy to drive, nice and predictable, comfortable, quiet. It's pretty good value for money, really, all things considered. If you want to go and check this car out, there'll be a link down in the description below. And there'll be a link to our website as well, so you can go and check it out there. If not, if you want to spend a lot more money, you can do through our website. But yeah, if you're just looking for a little daily driver that's just nice, Vauxhall Astra, surprisingly good. I'm going to give this car an 8 out of 10. This is genuinely a really, really nice car. And surprisingly well built. That's one thing I think you should take away from this video, is that it's squidgy in all the right places and solid in all the right places. Anyway, as always, my name has been Tom, and you have been watching Paragon Cars. Please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, well then, I guess I won't see you next time. But if you did, then I will see you next time. Anyway, cheers.